Alright everybody, I'm back. Just want to do a real quick follow-up on my stereo upgrade. I had a couple people ask me about the upgrade, how it turned out. It's a pretty exciting little venture. Again, I've been working with a guy, his name is Justin Wagner. He owns Waves and Wheels out at Osage Beach, Missouri. You know, he's got a big old business out there, and he specializes in, you know, the $1 million boats. If you look up his website, he's pretty hooked up out there. So he sent me these speakers because he was the one that originally set up my boat a couple years ago with the Focal speakers. These are called Blue Wave, B-L-U-A-V-E. They're marine speakers, high performance. So I put a lot of trust in this guy to send me these speakers. They're 7-inch, and they operate about 250 watts or so. They sound pretty good. At first, we had a little snafu with the install. Not the install, but the actual connection of everything. I hired a guy to come in and you know, put everything into the amp, actually power the amp up, run all that stuff, and then tune it. So at first there were some issues, and nothing sounded great at all, but we found out that there were a couple of speakers that were connected to the amp incorrectly. They were backwards. So once we figured that out, retuned everything, I gotta tell you, it's pretty clear sounding. They're pretty loud. They're a little bit more highs than I'm used to, but you can kind of tweak that with the amp and using the head unit here. But yeah, I gotta tell you, man, it turned out pretty well. And I'll show you around in here, but don't judge me on the boat because I just finished drilling some holes and I haven't vacuumed out all the fiberglass shit yet. So, so here's the speakers. Those are, again, they're called Blue Wave. And that WW there is for Waves and Wheels. That's his business. So that's the back. So I got two in the back. I got one there for, you know, behind my wife's throne. One underneath the cockpit here. And obviously got them up front. Put them in my wakeboard towers. There's 4 in the front, facing front, and then on the back I got 4 in the back facing the rear. So there's an ass ton of speakers in here. 14 of them. I got one 10-inch digital design sub. This is also a Waves and Wheels product. They're sub enclosure, pricey, but damn, they sound good, man. These are like $250 a piece. Then on the other side, I got my second sub, same digital design. I bought these down here in Florida. They're $300 a piece, man. That's not a cheap speaker, but they're worth it, man. And this is how I had them wired up. I used 0 gauge. You can see how thick that is. Right down there is the fuse, permanently mounted fuse. 0 gauge for the negative line. I ran that all the way up, all the way through the wall into the engine compartment. So I ran it, here, see if I can run it all the way through and up there, up through this, you know, compartment there. Let me go up in here. And then in here, get it out of the sun so I can see that. I have 2 JL Audio Marine Grade Class D 800 watt 8-channel amps. So, and then he used a block down there for the power and the ground. So everything is all complete and sounds awesome. It's pretty loud. You know, a lot of people don't understand how expensive this stuff can get. But I had a sit back down here. Had a couple people ask me about it, and they're getting interested in getting their boat ready for the season, for speakers and stereo systems and this and that. if you're handy at all, I highly recommend trying to do some of this stuff yourself. Running the wires, you know, it's not that hard. It's not that hard at all to run the wires all the way around and up. Some people will pull up the cover underneath the carpet and stuff, will pull up the cover that's sitting on top of the fuel tank, and they'll run it through, just cut the angle from the batteries up to the front. That's another way to do it. But from the batteries all the way around and up here, you're looking at about 17 to 19 feet worth of wire. Round it up to 20 feet, and you won't go wrong. You'll have some extra, but it's definitely better to have extra than not enough. So again, I use 0 gauge. I got it from Amazon, and it was like 48 bucks for 25 feet of red and black. So it wasn't that much. And that kit came with that fuse, the inline fuse that was sitting on the floor in there. So that's everything I needed. I ran that stuff. It took me about 20 minutes to run it. But to an installer, that's 150 bucks. So you save yourself a lot of money there. I cut in the speakers. Those of you that don't know, these new boats, mine's a 16, 2016, and they come with like 5¼ inch speakers stock. So you got to cut, if you're going to add anything worth of crap, you're going to have to cut these holes bigger. And that's what I did initially with my Focal speakers. These ones are 7s, so you're going to have to make it bigger for that, and that was kind of a pain. But most installers are going to, they're going to charge you 25 to 40 bucks for each hole that they have to drill. Each speaker hole that they got to make bigger. So keep that kind of stuff in mind. Try to do some of this stuff yourself. Save yourself some money. But again, these speakers were $400 a pair. That's 7 pairs. The pods themselves are like, I think they're 2¼ So each pod up here is like $1,000 bucks. The amps are 800 and change a piece. I got 2 of those. The sub enclosures are $250 a piece. The subs themselves are $300 a piece. So it's a lot of money if you're going to do this, and you got to dedicate it. This is one of those things that you can't do shortcuts. If you want a stereo system that is well-rounded and worth any kind of money that you're going to put into it, this is one of those things that you can't cut corners with. And for those married guys, your wife's got to be on board with it. I've got a really great wife, so I have 0 complaints. She kind of lets me do what I want as long as I don't get super ridiculous. I think if I start hanging disco balls and shit like that for my wakeboard tires, she might raise a bullshit flag, but she knows that I really enjoy music, and I just love the jam. I like it loud. I'm going deaf anyway, so why not? But I think if it were any other woman, spending $8,000-$10,000 on a stereo system, they'd probably knock us upside the head. But my wife's been pretty great throughout this whole thing. But yeah, don't skimp on this, guys. If you're gonna, if you're gonna do something with these boats, you gotta do it nice. Because I guarantee you, when I first started in my old 2012 ART40 that I had, I started off a little bit at a time. That was my plan, but it was very regretful because it just didn't sound good, and I was disappointed, and I kept going and kept going and kept going. Ultimately, it cost me more money to do it that way, because now you're paying labor again and again and more parts. Just get everything up front. A lot of these places will give you discounts if you get everything all at once and just do it all in one shot. That's just my 2 cents. It's worth it. It is absolutely worth it. And the one downside, it's really not a downside, but now that I've got 2 subs in here, I'm like finding everything that's loose on this boat. You all heard the license plates going down the street with these young kids booming and banging. The bass is rattling the license plate. Yeah, guess what? There's a bunch of crap inside these boats that I've discovered that rattle. So I've been stuffing some double-sided weather stripping, little chunks of it behind everything, behind the seat covers. That's mostly where you hear is behind the seat covers, or behind the cushions back here. So I think I got them all covered up now, and everything sounds pretty good. But so that's it, guys. I know I'm getting a little winded today, but stereo system's great, and if anybody's interested in these speakers, they are great. They sound really clear. They're worth the money. And Justin, he'll walk you through anything on the phone. He'll do a video chat with you during an install if you need help with anything. Tune in the amps, he'll do it. He'll do it over the radio for you. He'll make time. So again, they're called Blue Ave, B-L-U-A-V-E, Blue Ave Marine Audio, and they're out in Osage Beach, Missouri. And they're a little pricey, but that's the kind of way it goes when you want nice stuff, man. You get what you pay for, kind of a thing. So yeah, you can definitely hear us coming. And in my last video, I was talking about my neighbor talking shit. He put JLs in his. In all honesty, his sounded pretty good. I was damn impressed with those JLs, and I was worried. Because he put the 7.7s on the back platform, and they sounded good, man. They travel. But once I got my shit up and running, tuned out, and the gains on the amps turned back up again, and yeah, you can hear me coming now again. So it's pretty loud. Both of us are pretty loud. So we're always competing with each other. So all right, I'm done. Anybody got any questions? Let me know. I can get you the guy's number out there in Missouri if anybody's interested in these speakers. So that's it, guys. Happy boating.